Last time, we learned about the wacky tales of Hypno's Lullaby, Lost Silver, and the misadventures of Missing No, but now, let's get into the bonus content. Here's 10 more things about Friday Night Funkin' Lullaby version 2. And hey, if you got here from part 1, welcome back. Let's get into it. Funkin' Lullaby version 2 uses Yoshub's Forever engine, an open source engine striving to fix the quality of life and performance issues with the base game. Both the upcoming Salty Sunday Night update and Funk Mix Deluxe are made in this engine. The CRT effect in the store, the color bleed effect used on Freakachu's jump scare in the beginning of Missing No, and filters like the one to give the OG Game Boy green look and the wavy background in Brimstone are all done in engine, a pretty impressive feat in coding. My personal favorite effect is the one used during Missing No's glitch mechanic, where the actual stage itself is broken apart to give the same glitchy look. The song Isotope stars Glitchy Red, the main antagonistic force of the creepypasta of the same name. Glitchy Red chronicles the story of a bootleg Pokemon Red cartridge purchased online, and the seemingly self-aware character at the helm of it. This creepypasta is pretty meta in its writing, even referencing Lost Silver and Buried Alive as typical hacked cartridges. The self-aware Glitchy Red begins to lament to the viewer that they have no control over their life, and that they were replaced by some brown-eyed kid, in reference to the newer Fire Red Leaf Green designs. The entire game is bugged and glitchy, right down to the music, which plays out in an awful discordant ringing. Glitchy Red eventually accepts his fate and tells the player, "Go ahead and forget me now, goodbye," before receding away forever. In Funkin' Lullaby, Glitchy Red has the same sprite tearing effect as Missing No, and the stage is a jumbled arrangement of game assets called Glitch City. His quote about being replaced by a brown-eyed kid is instead him being replaced by a blue-haired kid, implying it's boyfriend who he's directing his anger at. The item bought to unlock this song is a Game Boy SP, to which the shopkeeper says, "Stupid thing does nothing but make annoying noises, fucking take it," in reference to the glitchy high-pitched noise described in the original creepypasta. S!3V3N, or Steven, is based on the Strangled Red creepypasta. Strangled Red tells the story of a ROM hack of the original Pokemon Red, which allegedly takes place a year before the original game. The ROM hack stars Steven, an up-and-coming Pokemon trainer, and his Charizard named Miki. After completing the game and beating the Elite Four, Steven's brother and rival Mike asks to borrow Miki to complete his Pokedex, and this is where things go wrong. During the trading process, the game freezes with a sudden snap, and Miki is killed in the process. A mournful Steven turns his back on Pokemon, leaving the throne of Kanto up for grabs, and eventually commands Missing No to help him resurrect his fallen Charizard, hence why his name is glitched into S!3V3N. Horribly guiltful and irreversibly deranged, Steven approaches his brother's Mike bed and strangles him to death. The song Dissension is the final moments of the creepypasta, with the song taking place in Mike's bedroom and ending with Steven strangling his brother. Mike is likely upside down because from Steven's perspective, he's lying in bed, and his irises are huge due to dilated pupils being a symptom of asphyxiation. Next up, we have the song Purin, which features a small, creepy-looking Jigglypuff facing off against a knife-wielding Pico inside a Poke Center. Purin is Jigglypuff's name in Japanese, meaning pudding in its original language. This stage isn't based on a creepypasta, but a single image of Jigglypuff staring at the viewer with dark, bleeding eyes and static obscuring the image. If you know Pokemon creepypastas, you've definitely seen this image. It's been around forever. Just hanging out in the background is Nurse Joy, according to the game files, but apparently this stage was supposed to be much more. According to artist Lemon Memer, the song was supposed to be much more cinematic, with assets akin to a visualizer. Pico was supposed to fall asleep due to Purin's singing, but would emerge as a ghost in order to prevent Purin from doing the same to you, the viewer. This is why there's an unused turning animation and front-facing sprite sheet that would have utilized this aspect of the song, presumably when Purin is singing backwards near the end of the track. The song Death Toll is based on the creepypasta Hellbell, in which a player who goes by Dust gets a shiny Bronzong named Hellbell through Pokemon Pearl's Global Trading Center. The Bronzong began communicating with the player through mail, stating, "Take me back," and "I can't go back on my own." Taking Hellbell back to where it was caught, Lost Tower revealed a hidden passage inside a cracked tombstone that leads into a deep magma cave. The player is approached by a gentleman NPC and thanks them for returning their Pokemon. They then ask for their real name in order to thank them properly, activating the DS touchscreen to sign it. After signing, the gentleman states, "You'll be happy to know that you now belong to me," before the sprite of the main character turns, revealing the visage of the actual player and is imprisoned by Hellbell. In Funkin' Lullaby, the item required to unlock Death Toll is a letter, referencing the letters Hellbell used to communicate, and the price of the item is 666. The mechanic of Death Toll is that the player must hit the spacebar to cover their ears when the bell is ringing or take damage. When the gentleman, also known as Beazle, presents a contract, Boyfriend slowly signs it. Dawn turning into Boyfriend perfectly parallels the end of Hellbell, sealing his soul in the deal. If you haven't figured it out yet, Beazle is short for Beelzebub, an alternate name for the actual devil. Amusia is based on the creepypasta Disabled. Amusia is the technical term for tone deafness. The pasta centers around a Wigglytuff named Disabled, who was obtained through a wireless trade. As you can imagine, this Wigglytuff is useless in battle, unable to perform any moves due to them being all disabled. Eventually, Wigglytuff would attempt to sing on their own over and over again, becoming darker and darker with each use. Wigglytuff then addresses the player, stating, "You can sing. Give me your sing," and effectively breaks the game. In Lullaby, disabled Wigglytuff misses its notes, reflecting its sing being disabled. The player takes on the role of Ponyta, the Pokemon that Disabled forces the player to fight against in the pasta, in a stage that takes on the appearance of an actual Pokemon battle. Throughout the song, Disabled becomes darker and darker, eventually switching the perspective of the fight to face the viewer before taking center stage themselves for the end of the song. It's presumed that at this point they would have asked the player if they could sing, just like in the pasta. Shinto is Funkin Lullaby's joke character, at least it seems to be at first. The item required to play this song is a broken vinyl, that when shoved into a Game Boy, Tipic's face shows up to give us that iconic grin. This song and its characters is one of the only ones without some sort of creepypasta basis, and is created entirely for this mod, just like Alexis in Lost Purpose. Shinto's song is a happy, upbeat track, and losing this song simply makes them point, laugh, then run away like a Smiling Friends character. At the end of Shinto, the player character known as Gray throws a Pokeball, catching the Pokemon. This is intended to be impossible, and Shinto breaks free and enters their second phase, Shitno. Shitno is a massive 3D rendered abomination, here to lay the smackdown on Gray for cheating. Gray's Pokedex entry reads, "The Bootleg Trainer. Rumors say the developers that created this character couldn't be bothered to code him, so they trapped the soul of a dead kid in it and called it a day." At the end of Shitno, Gray can be heard screaming, then slowly getting bit crushed after a Pokeball sound, implying he was captured inside one as punishment for cheating. Imagine getting your soul trapped in a video game character, and then that video game character being trapped inside the video game. Talk about prisonception. Not every character in the mod has Pokedex entries, such as Boyfriend, Girlfriend, Pico, Typhlosion, Whitehand, Alexis, Mike Dawn, and Young Hypno. Speaking of the Pokedex, Hypno's Pokedex entries come straight from Ruby and Sapphire, Gold, and Pokemon Yellow for its different forms, but is slightly altered for the Pasta Night entry to explain the floating cards. Freakachu's entry is also Pikachu's Pokedex entry from Pokemon Yellow, and Ponyta's entry is directly lifted from Gold. Missing No's entry also glitches everything up just like in Free Play. After a few moments, the lyrics to the original Pokerap can be heard, although quiet and distorted. There's a Pokedex entry for Nurse Joy and Co. that unlocks after Purin, featuring Nurse Joy and a Cubone, even though it's only Nurse Joy in the current build of Purin. Each entry has unique art, and speaking of unique art, there's unique pause menu art for almost every song in the mod. The songs that don't have art still have the missing texture Hax Flixel symbol slide in, implying that art was just yet to be added. And finally, the last song in the mod, Pasta Night. Before we get into what's going on at the main table, there's a lot to unpack in the back, so let's go over that first. In the farthest back table, we see Shinto chatting up Coronation Day Peach at the same table as Salad Fingers and Mr. Widemouth. To the left of them is a pixelated Herobrine playing on the slots, and taking a closer look at the machine reveals Majin Sonic, WD Gaster, Gygus, a yellow smiley face, and a frowny face I don't quite recognize, so if you know who or what this is, please let me know. The slot machine itself has the name Polybius on it, in reference to the urban legend of the government-funded psychology experiment in the form of an arcade game. Moving on to the right, we see Red Miss Squidward, a familiar face to some of you, Slenderman, the star of his hit 2012 game, and the infamous Ben Drowned. An interesting feature of Ben is that he always starts the song looking at the main table, but is programmed to randomly look at the viewer at any point. Creepy. To the left of them is Jeff the Killer, Mouse.avi, and Dead Bart. To the left of them, leaning up on the wall holding a red solo cup, is Eyeless Jack, and hanging on the wall next to him is a picture of Smile Dog. Again, I don't recognize these two images on the wall to the right. I mean, I've probably seen them in a Gmod horror map, but still, let me know if you know, and I'd really appreciate it. On occasion, Gold may float by on some unknown balloon spelling hi, wearing a little bow tie, and Luigi also has the chance to walk by holding a wine glass of some red liquid. Alright, let's talk about the card games. Sitting at the main table are three characters from different creepypastas, MX, Lord X, and our boy Hypno. The song begins with an homage to Super Mario Bros. 2's character select screen, giving the player the option to choose one of the three characters. Playing as MX brings back the pendulum mechanic from the main week. Playing as Hypno introduces the POW mechanic, which switches the scroll direction when MX hits his POW block, and playing as Lord X has both of these mechanics at the same time. Each of these three are holding different types of cards. Hypno has Pokemon cards, Lord X has one left in Uno, and MX is holding some black-backed cards I would think are also Uno, but you can't see the logo at all. Regardless, none of them are using the cards on the table. Taking a look at the table, you can see the current betting pool is 1 coin, 1 Pokeball, and 3 rings. The name of the song, Pasta Night, may be a reference to the Telltale game Poker Night, Night, which features crossovers from different movies, shows, and games, just like how this song is a huge creepypasta crossover. According to this tweet by BandBuds, Pass the Night was originally called Celebration. And that's 10 more things about Funkin' Lullaby. I hope you enjoyed. The risk I run when making videos like this shortly after release of a mod is that there's things that the devs confirm or deny about it. For example, at the time of writing this, a BandBuds Q&A is coming up regarding the mod, so hopefully these videos don't very suddenly become outdated. Alright, thanks for watching. Until next time.